to understand what you do as soon as possible so they can make a purchase or engage with you or follow you or be repeat customers. And I'm fascinated by that type of stuff. So it is.
And I like how you said world. You know, that's just that dream, big vision. We're conquering the world with what we're doing, you know. And like you said, we get to interact with so many people and so many different personalities and even our kids. Just think of all the culture, you know, we kind of touched on this before, me and Shane, just the culture that our kids get, you know, and just having that customer service mindset and also just being able to talk to anyone at 5 years old. From any walk of life.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
It's amazing.
Back to the 101s of community and family.
And something I've been thinking about, you know, Enzo is over at our house right now. He and Madeline are playing with Jessica. And I called her and checked on her, so I didn't say she's watching them. I said they're playing because they're kind of just all playing, you know. But as these children grow up knowing each other, they're going to feed off of each other's. Is it okay to say your daughter's name on there?
Yeah, Maeve.
Okay, Maeve. So Maeve and Rebecca, 12 years from now, I said Rebecca, that's my oldest daughter, I'm sorry. Maeve and Madeline, 12 years from now, may be telling a secret on Enzo. But my point is, if they become friends, then their experiences are going to be shared, and what a wide net they would cover. You know, Maeve will have this circle, and Enzo will have this circle, and Madeline, you know, and in the intersection, they're all going to be like, oh, and you saw what, and did this, and that was so cool. And
to me too, it's, you know, as the market founder, I feel so much joy when y'all's kids come and they're interacting and you can see them learning those things in real time, how to deal with people and how to serve people and how to read people. I mean, and it's a family affair. I mean, this is a family business. So they're a part of it. They're a part of setup. They're a part of the transactions. They're a part of building it at the house. They're a part of the drive. I mean, that, and when I see the kids running around and you know, all the market kids, you know, they just,
kids. We use the market kids, but they're market kids.
So fun.
And their experiences are going to be different. We've talked a lot about that and how our kids are going to grow up understanding where money comes from in a way that I think a lot of kids, you know, a lot of times the parents go to work and, you know, they come home and then they have money to do things, but the kids don't understand that. But in the case of all of our children, they will see firsthand from the very beginning, oh, you do this and then you do this. And then eventually you get somebody to give you this for it. Oh, and they gave you this much, but you ended up getting to keep how much of it? You had to pay this for that and all this, you know, I think they'll get a real good understanding of the true value of $1.
Well, they see their parents as doers too. I think there's a lot of people that phone it in. They call in for like yard work. I'm guilty too, but they you know, it's good to see your parents doing. You know, that's extremely important. So you always want to see doers.
So we're live.
Bring it.
We are live.
How we doing?
We've been live for a couple of minutes, as a matter of fact. I just checked the timer, so that's good. We are live. So this is a new uncharted territory.
Sure.
Here at Vendor Chronicles. For the first time ever, we have our first guest.
Hello.
This is Lindsey. Lindsey, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself with your full name because one thing I meant to do is ask you how you want to be referred before we started this podcast, and we didn't.
Yeah, I'm Lindsey Pattillo-Keane. Pattillo is my maiden name, and Keane is my married name, so I had to go by all three. Lindsey Pattillo-Keane.
Welcome, Lindsey.
Thank you.
We've known each other for a long time, and of course, I knew you before you got married, and I've never asked that question, so it's nice to have that as a friend.
Yeah.
You know, I just say Lindsey, so, you know, but if somebody asks, okay, well, you know, what's her name?
If you're in the know, you call me Pattillo.
If you're in the know, you call her Pattilo.
Yeah, that's what all my volleyball friends, all my high school friends, all my college friends, everyone calls me Pattilo.
I was going to say that sounded like a sports nickname.
Yeah.
Knowing you for an athlete.
Or P. They call me P.
Or P?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I'm going to be more comfortable with Pattilo, I think. So listen, by way of introduction, we haven't talked about any kind of introduction now, but if you listen to this, you probably know this is Vendor Chronicles. I'm here with Q the Messenger. Kevin, the boss man Richardson, and they call me Shane the Brain. I'm not real sure why, but they like to. I think because they know it embarrasses me. But I'm going to turn this introduction over to Q the Messenger because he's going to give us a little bit of background about Lindsey and where she's been at before here, and then we'll start the conversation.
Let's go. All right, Lindsey, correct me if I get anything wrong.
Yeah,
what I'm
please.
about to read. Okay.
There's no pressure on this if you do.
Okay. But if I do get it wrong, just let me know.
Okay.
So today on Vendor Chronicles, we have a truly remarkable guest, Lindsey Pattillo-Keane, the first executive director of MidCity District Association. Lindsey is a proud Huntsville native who brings wealth of experience and passion to her role. She transitioned into this exciting position after serving as the Director of Marketing and Property Activation for RCP companies and MidCity District since 2017.
Exactly right.
With a BA in Interior Design from the University of Alabama and an MBA with a concentration in leadership from the University of Houston, Lindsey's journey has taken her across the country and around the world, where she gained invaluable experiences in design, special events, and hospitality leadership. From exploring the vibrant Art Basel in Miami to the boutique hotels of Scotland, Lindsey has a keen eye for creating extraordinary experiences. Today, she's here to share her vision for the MidCity District, her passion for building community, and the journey that brought her back home to Huntsville. Please welcome Lindsey Pattillo-Keane.
Wow. Can you send me that? That was so lovely. That was great.
Have you ever heard that just read out like
no,
that? No, and I guarantee I've missed a lot more. This is just what I came up with quick on the fly.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to give you that introduction.
Thanks for putting that together.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome.
Great. I'm really happy to be here, guys. Like I said with Shane, I'm thrilled when Shane mentioned that the two of y'all were doing this. This is cool. This is really cool. Y'all are the doers of the community. Y'all are on the front lines of the community. You are small business owners. You're vendors. This is y'all bring me a lot of joy. So I'm really happy to be here.
And how cool is this studio?
Oh, it's
that we
amazing.
get to do this in.
It's amazing.
86 Kids Studio.
Shout out 86. That 86 Kids Studio. Shout out that 86 Kids Studio, downtown Huntsville.
Professional viber.
Yep, Kevin the Boss Man Richardson. It is. Yeah. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yep. So I guess let's kick it off. So what I was thinking before with this interview, that we're all kind of new parents. Not I'm on my second batch. Shane on his second batch. You're on your first batch. You know, but still, all our kids are under the age of 2. You know, and how exciting is that? You know, to have these kids. I know we was kind of singing a lot of lullabies before the podcast started. And when you said that you only know 3 songs, I'm like, man, I got like 10 in my repertoire easily.
That's awesome.
You know, just because all I listen to is lullabies or whatever you call them. How you say the word?
Lullabies, little kids songs. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I could be riding down the road in my truck and just be singing something crazy. The wheels on the bus go round and round. In my car by myself, you know.
I was checking out YouTube this morning, and as I pulled up to go on the search, the whole screen, all the suggestions were all kids' cartoons or something to relate with Madeline, you know, Miss Rachel or Looney Tunes or whatever it was. I'm like, man, this is... a part of fatherhood that I wasn't used to. Of course, you know, the first time I was a father, you didn't have the internet. You know, there was no YouTube.
Right.
But back then it was the Green Eggs and Ham and VHS cassettes of, you know, Disney movies or whatever. Anyways.
I love it.
Yeah. It's just so fun having these little kids and watching them grow and just watching how intelligent they are. You know, I was just at Shane's house. He mentioned it earlier, but his wife is watching my baby for me, and they're just so smart. You know, watching him and Madeline play, and how quick they just catch on to things.
So intuitive,
very intuitive. You know, and they know what's going on. You know, they probably can't communicate it well, but they understand.
And they feed off of each other. The way they learn from each other is so fun to watch. Individually, it's great, and the two of them together, it's like I'm worried about our kids, man. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah. I got to keep an eye on those two. You know, at the market yesterday, you know, we called them the market kids. You know, and my son, he's about 20 months. Madeline's what, a little over a year. 15, you 15, and I'm watching my son. I'm like, hey, dude, you better give her some distance. He was all up on Maddie, man. I was like, hey, you gotta go see her dad. So,
Right.
I was like, hold up, he's already trying to hold her hand.
Oh,
He took the sippy cup. He was feeding her water. He's like, here you go, Maddie.
Taking care of each other.
He was just so sweet to her. He really was.
That's fantastic.
A close-up gentleman, he was.
But he was hands-on.
But at some point, I might have to pull him to the side. That's all I'm saying, brother. That's all I'm saying. I'll give you a heads up. Be like, look, bring Enzo to the house, man. Drop him off. Just drop him at the curb, man. Don't tell him anything.
That's right.
We're going to have us a conversation. He's going to help me clean my guns. It is so fun to watch baby interactions, though, and seeing that. And as they become able to run around the market, at whatever age we deem that, something tells me that'll be fairly early with us. We'll have hard boundaries for them.
Yeah.
Probably the curbs. You can't step up on a curb, and that way we know they're never even close to the street.
Or not past this booth.
Not past this booth, exactly. But just seeing them, feed off of each other. And Madeline right now is in that observing stage. And I noticed downtown at the Art Walk Friday night, she was mimicking what Enzo did. He laid down, she laid down. He set up, she set up. She was definitely watching him and then following his lead. It's funny because Madeline's taller than Enzo, but Enzo is older.
Right.
And you can tell the cognitive difference in that extra 5 months. He's better at talking. He's learning colors.
Right.
Madeline's still not quite there yet, and so it's cool watching the two of them together.
Well, and it's fun to see them getting to know each other at the market, and they, this is family, this is community, this is the way it used to be when the kids would meet where mom and dad would play, and and y'all would the city center, that's where commerce would take place, that's where people would gather, that's where the kids would meet, that's where you'd stroll with your dog, and that's what we're building together, all of us in this room.
I'm glad you say that because I often talk about MidCity in that way. And when I tell people about, I got a regular gig on Sundays, that might be something that I say in this, what is that? And I said, well, let me tell you about MidCity.
Sure.
It's the kind of place I would go to if I wasn't a vendor. Whatever it is that you're into, you can find a little bit of it there, and you'll probably find something that'll stretch your imagination just enough to have a better time than you thought you would. And on a Sunday afternoon, come on. It's the coolest vibe in Huntsville.
Thank you.
And it's cool to see a lot of regulars, but it's cool to see also a mix of people that have never been there before. We get, the people you meet, you never know who they are, where they're from, or what they're doing.
Yep.
So what was your inspiration to start this market? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, so I lived in Houston for 10 years and came back to Huntsville and just immediately realized, I grew up here, but immediately realized on that visit back in, it would have been January of 2017 that were big things were happening in Huntsville.
Sure.
A lot of changes were being made. A lot of growth was happening. We were getting more creature comforts at a Whole Foods. More development was happening downtown. They were realizing that the mall needed to be something special. And so I just said, I'd love to be a part of this. And I was in a transitional period finishing my MBA in Houston. So I said, if I move back to Huntsville, I could be a part of making home even better than it already is. And long story short, got connected with Max and the team at RCP Companies and Remy. And we had a long discussion about how much I loved Huntsville, but I left because we weren't having conversations like this that we're having right now. We were just kind of, I think, we weren't I don't know, it just wasn't as progressive, or it wasn't as community minded or something. I don't know what it was or wasn't. Maybe it's just because my age and I was getting more involved in the community. But
if I can interrupt, how old were you when we're talking about college age?
College. So no. I had been in Houston for 10 years.
Oh, okay.
So from 2017, so I was about 32 when I was starting to think about where I wanted to head next after I finished my MBA.
So I wonder if some of those early thoughts of maybe not enough opportunity or whatever it was that you were looking for in Huntsville, I wonder if some of those early thoughts were, colored by the natural dissatisfaction of youth. I don't know how to put that necessarily, but when you're in your early, late teens, early 20s, probably up until you're about 30, you're looking to expand your horizons, I think. And whatever, you could be from New York City and you're like, I got to do something different. I'm going to go live on a farm, whatever it is.
You're right.
There is that wanderlust. And I just wonder about that. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
So
and being in Houston and traveling all over, and Q mentioned some of the places I've visited, I think it's all on us to bring those elements and those experiences to where we're going and where we live. So I said, I think I can incorporate some of my passions into Huntsville and help make it even better than it already is. So I started with marketing and property activation. My specialty has always been events and getting things off the ground. And I was a farmer's market vendor in Houston. I was a boiled peanut vendor called Rella's Boiled Peanuts. Wow. I brought boiled peanuts to Houston,
Rella's
Texas.
Boiled peanuts.
Yes. It is. I just paid $179.99 for GoDaddy to re-up my website that I don't really interact with anymore. Sorry, guys, for my boiled peanut friends and fam. But so I was a market vendor in Houston, and it was on a Sunday market. So I was constantly a part of that market, and I just, being in the event world for most of my entire career, and I can talk a little bit about that too, and being a farmer's market vendor, it was natural that I would start the market. And Max and I talked about it and how important it would be to help, not because MidCity is, there's a lot of national presence there, not a lot of national tenants with Topgolf and REI and Dave & Buster's.
100%, absolutely.
Yeah. But you can have both big businesses and small businesses interacting with one another. I think we live in a world where if you're not one, you're the other. You can be both. And so here I am, moving back. So let's start a farmer's market. I said, okay, let's do it. So with our social media presence with the camp in MidCity, I started polling the community, where would you go to a farmer's market? What day would you like? What day, if it were Sunday, what time? If it were Saturday, what time? What are we lacking? It was a community effort when getting this market off the ground. We established Sunday, not only because me personally, when you're starting a new market, it's hard to compete with established markets for vendors. So if we add another day to the calendar where there's another market in our community, not only am I not stealing vendors from another farmer's market, we're increasing the number of sales days for vendors and the number of shopping days for customers. So here we are, just making the pie bigger rather than taking the pie. That's always been just an absolute mindset of mine. I don't. If I get a bigger piece of pie, doesn't mean yours is smaller. We grow this pie together, and
it's not a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
There's room for all of us to grow.
Well, and Sundays sometimes will just not. There's been vendors that said they would love to be a part of the market that cannot do Sunday. Get it? No problem. But there's a good collection of people that do. And I will also say, when I move back home, there are 2 days in the weekend. There's a Saturday and a Sunday. Most everything was closed on Sunday. That is 50% of the weekend. So here we are. We've got 250,000+ people free on Sunday. So let's do Sunday. Why not? And so here we are still going strong on Sundays. And I couldn't be happier. And what's more family friendly on Sunday than a farmer's market and supporting businesses? So I love our Sunday market. I love y'all and what you bring to the market. I feel so lucky to have gotten it off the ground, and with the team that we have and y'all buying into being a part of it. Yippee for starting it, but way better to have vendors that come consistently. And y'all are those vendors. Vendors that I just know, where you're going each Sunday, and I know where you're going. It's just a community agreement, which I love. So it's a massive team effort. I tell everybody that asks me about starting a farmer's market, I was like, it is a living, breathing organism that needs constant attention. So if you're ready for that, do it. If you're not ready for that, just be a shopper, So So yeah, so that's really the foundation of the market, and that started in 2019, and here we are, almost 7 years later, getting it off the ground, and y'all, like I said, y'all are massive parts of the growth and the reason why people come to the market. So,
thank you.
Kudos.
Right. Hey,
as they say,
pat ourselves on the back. Hey,
yeah,
good job,
yeah,
Q.
that's right.
Good job. And outstanding job to you, Lindsey, for even starting that and giving us a venue to attend on Sundays. I would arguably say that MidCity is the coolest place in town on Sunday.
Thank you. Thank
totally.
you.
And I'm saying on Sunday, arguably throughout the week.
Yeah.
Where else can you go to get live music? Shop around different vendors. You got a bar. It's amazing. You got a coffee shop.
World-class coffee shop. An award-winning.
That's right.
Award-winning coffee shop. You got
the
food.
green room and the camp and my gosh,
you got cultural diversity when it comes to the food. You got the camp food, and you got is it
Tamarind Island Grill?
Tamarind Island Grill. Some of the best Caribbean food, island food you can get in town. So MidCity is probably one of the greatest places in town, Huntsville.
Thank you.
And
y'all are part of that fabric.
Thank you so much for starting that market and just giving us that opportunity and that outlet.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
We're a third of the way done, guys. We have so many fantastic vendors and tenants right now, and Squeeze, Color Me Mine, Komodo Ramen, Dave & Buster's, REI, Top Golf, the Orion, Trader Joe's, the Market, the Camp, Viet Hong, Stars and Strikes, more things coming. So Tupelo Honey is about to open. Barbecue, Blue Oak Barbecue. Don't get me started on Blue Oak. Oh my gosh, Blue Oak just opened this past summer.
Did I tell the story about Blue Oak Barbecue, the owner on air?
Oh,
this is a real quick story about the owner of Blue Oak Barbecue, and I can't remember the guy's name. Right, I met the guy
maybe
first.
Phil or Ronnie would be.
If I saw him,
both from New Orleans.
I've had 2 interactions with him, and it'll take a second, but it was the Whistle Stop Barbecue Festival. The first time it was at MidCity.
Oh.
And he came by and was looking at my toys. He was just random Joe. I didn't know who he was. So, and he liked I can't remember what it was, a tractor and a trailer or something like that, like maybe $30 or $40 worth of toys, nothing big. And he was set up somewhere else. And he said, well, I'm over here. I don't have my wallet with me, whatever. I'll come back after a while. And I said, well, just carry it with you and just bring it back, let your kid go ahead and play with it. Bring it back. We went back and forth. Finally, he said, all right, he would. Never came back and paid for it. I forgot about it. It was $30 or $40. I was willing to lose it, or I wouldn't have said, it's okay with you if you forgets. He seemed like an honest guy. So anyways, he never came back and paid for it. Forgot about it. About a year later, I'm at the market at MidCity, set up there on a Sunday, and he comes by and says, remember me? No, sir, I do not. Well, I'm the guy that stole the tractor. I said, dude, I didn't even remember. Anyways, he came by specifically to introduce himself and pay for that tractor that he'd forgotten like a year ago. It was hilarious. Yeah, we had a good laugh.
That's so good. Yeah, those guys are great.
Did you charge him interest?
No, I didn't. He offered to buy me a beer, but I don't drink, so, it is what it is. But,
I love it.
We had a good laugh about it. Honest people, generally speaking, I mean, everybody can make a mistake, but an honest mistake among good people is, not a big deal. And I made $30 that day for really doing nothing. It's kind of like having some cash in my pocket.
Right.
You found wallet and money in your wallet.
Yep, that's right.
$30 here. So
that's right.
But it's good to know the character of one of the tenants at MidCity. That he's the kind of person that even if he does make an honest mistake, he could have blown that off. There was no, he had no, I'd have never come after what.
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
What's up?
How many hats do you own?
Oh,
every time I see Liz, she got a different hat. I don't want to say it's a new
funny
hat. It's
that
just a different hat. I'll be like, man, that hat, you just so fly.
Thank you.
Look at what she's wearing right now.
Thank you.
Tell her how fly she is.
I mentioned it on the way in here. We see each other sometimes in different circumstances. A lot of times on Sunday, it's real hot and we're doing physical work, and she still manages to put her best foot forward. But today in her business attire, I wanted to ask her for a loan or something, honestly speaking, or some kind of, excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, styling.
I'm honored.
You guys always make me feel like the Oh, I was going to say something different. You know, the unstylish person.
No, you're stylish. You got your camp gear on. That's an Artie Dean original right there.
Hey, how cool is Artie?
No, I've got probably 50 hats. Probably 50. When my daughter was born, and when she came in May, we obviously had to create a nursery for her.
Mm-hmm. That was your hat room.
That was my hat room. Oh. So now all my hats in our bag, in a bag in our bedroom. So I've got to figure out a better display for them. But now I'm not grabbing as many of a variety of hats because I just grabbed the ones on the top of the bag. So I gotta figure out my new hat plan now that Maeve grabbed my hat room.
Hats. 50 fly hats.
Well, I'm trying to, preserve my youth. I'm in the sun a lot. I gotta protect my skin. So and look good while doing it. So
right.
Yes,
you do a real good job.
I appreciate that.
Lindsey gave me my first opportunity to be on TV.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I did a commercial at MidCity. You remember that? The news came out.
Yes.
I got to set up my kettle, and pop for the news basically and talk about my business. This was probably 2-3 seasons ago. So she gave me like national recognition. Dang. I mean, by way of Lindsey.
Right.
So I thank you for that opportunity as well. I wish I can go back and find that clip. Of me being on the news. Yeah, at MidCity District.
Well, and that's the thing about being on the news. The first time is the most nerve wracking. And as soon as you do it the second time, it's better. The third time, much better. Then the fourth time, you're starting to put the mic on yourself. So then you just and then you get to promote your business.
Live, and I got to promote my business.
Yeah.
And I thought I did a pretty good job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was a live record. He's like, "You got 30 minutes. Make it happen."
Yeah, so I remember that.
It was good. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was fun.
Well, look at you now. Now you're on a podcast, so you've grown in that ability to talk about you and your business, which is fantastic.
We got big plans for this too.
Okay.
We haven't really shared them with too many people, but there's other things coming.
You want to share?
Well, I think it's kind of out there that we might think about possibly that maybe there's a book on the way. We'll see.
Oh, cool.
That's in the very early. That's not like not this year. Southern Hustle.
New York Times bestseller.
It's going to be a great book.
Nice.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
See, look at how much creativity.
But I think MidCity has been a big part of bringing this together. As it happens, all in the same spot. Two guys who become friends and then like to talk. Who'd have thunk it? And then, and two guys that have, some different stories. If you work a 9 to 5 in a cubicle, I don't mean to say that derisively, but it is what it is. You probably, not a whole lot of new stuff happens, but when you get out there and go, set up somewhere at 5 o'clock in the morning and, the wind blows your tent away, well, at least you have a story,
That's hard work.
But also meeting there at MidCity and becoming friends with Kevin, the boss man, Richardson, who owns his own professional studio, That 86 Kids Studio. Shout out That 86 Kids Studio. But the three of us, we would have never known one another anything more than passing, even if that, had there not been for the MidCity.
Right. Thank you. Yeah.
We talked about Artie Dean. Artie's become a good personal friend. He came to Madeline's birthday party, her first birthday party.
Yep.
It was good to see him there. And the mix of creative-minded people that have such different experiences in life coming together, it's almost like a focal point, like a prism, like that Pink Floyd album, it's almost like a focal point that comes right together in the middle of Huntsville. If I were going to tell somebody from out of town what's a good way to know what the city of Huntsville is all about, I would send them to MidCity.
Thank you.
I would. Before I would send them to Big Spring Park or even downtown, I would say you need to go to MidCity on a Sunday afternoon especially, see the farmer's market, the families, the animals, it's a wonderful place. And I'll gush on and on, but we're very grateful for what you've done there. And, we're proud to be a part of it.
Well, I'm thrilled that we get to team up on this.
Jessica and I have been there since 2019. We're as OG as it gets.
That's right.
And I came the following year.
You came the following year. Yeah.
Y'all were
still
there.
OG. You're still OG.
Well,
you got a year on me.
I have to compliment you guys too, because those early days
were tough.
They're hard. Yeah. And when you start something new, just like y'all starting your business, you're like, ooh, is this gonna work out? Should I spend my time doing this? Like, should I get that job they called me yesterday? They want me back. Like, should we keep on keeping on? And y'all stuck around with us, and You know, we feed off each other. You know, we've got a market when you're there, and we've got a market when I show up, and we continue to rally. So if we all show up, we've got a market. Right. So if we don't show up, we don't have a market. And that's just a collective.
Our presence there becomes something bigger than the whole. You know, and it's interesting you bring that up. I've never told you this story. But obviously, Jessica and I were there in 2019, the first year, and it was pretty lean. You know, there's three or four of us sometimes, and sometimes we said, "Oh, they didn't make $30 or whatever." I never made nothing. Yeah, never one time made nothing. So after that first year, we really had a hard conversation. Jessica and I did about whether or not we were going to keep that market in our repertoire.
Sure.
But Jessica knew you through some of her involvement in the Hospitality Association and had seen some of the things you did. And it really was, honestly, she was the tipping point to say, listen, I know what she's about, and let's stick it out for another year and see, can we do something? And wow, sure, I'm glad we did. You know,
jeez,
that was
major honor.
Yeah, shout out Jessica Knox.
Y'all's wives are unstoppable.
Amazing.
I mean, I have so much respect for them. They're so smart and
shout out Cynthia Darden.
Jeez.
Shout out Cynthia Darden.
Both Cynthia and Jess and Suzanne. I see you over there, Kevin.
Yeah. Y'all working on it.
Y'all have. I mean,
look, let's do it in stereo. Shout out Suzanne.
Yeah, I mean, y'all. I see them every week, and every time. I mean, y'all. They're just like my people. I mean, they're just smart, driven, supportive, intelligent, like entrepreneurial. I mean, so it takes two, doesn't it? I mean, I feel lucky to have a fantastic partner myself, and my husband. You know.
Yeah, it does. This would be impossible to do on our own.
Yeah, people that believe in you, and you just happen to be married to them, which is extra cool too. You know. So
it's great to be married to your best friend.
Yeah.
What's your husband's name?
Cahill. That's it.
Carl?
It's Cahill. Cahill. Gaelic name.
Shout
Irish.
Out Cahill.
Yeah.
Hey, he took the time at one market.
Cahill-Keane.
Shout out Cahill-Keane. You know, let's brag on him. He's a doctor.
He is in the middle of a test at this very second. One of the hardest tests he will take, and he is about done.
And after this test, he's in a PhD.
He is an MD. He's an MD. Yep. Family medicine.
Okay. Family medicine. He took the time to talk to me for like 15 minutes when you wasn't at this market. I think you was at home with the baby.
Okay.
And I want to say it was Green Street.
Okay.
And I was telling him that my son wanted to go into the medical field. He wants to be an anesthesiologist.
Nice.
And so he took the time, to exchange contact information and just give me some heads up and some things to look out for. And he was like, if your son ever have any questions, tell him to contact me.
Awesome. I love
gave me
that.
his direct number. So shout out Cahill-Keane.
Yeah. He's
a great guy.
Wealth of knowledge. And
I could tell.
God, he is so happy to share that knowledge too.
He had no problem standing there 15 minutes just shooting the breeze with me and giving me some information.
Yep.
So
he's got some insight. That medical journey is not a joke.
I can't imagine.
Isn't it interesting how often good people kind of gravitate towards each other? Just kind, generous, helping people seem like find their way, I don't know, to a common point. And that common point is MidCity in Huntsville, Alabama.
It's all about energy. I think energy attracts energy. That type of vibration that we have, that frequency. We all kind of on the same frequency. So that's my opinion on that.
And y'all are finding your joy. Y'all are making your own dreams come true, and that helps you radiate too. That helps you have your own sense of peace. I love what I do. I don't know how people. It's hard for me to fathom people going to work every day and having just struggling, and I hope that people find their joy, because it's just, life's too short.
It's worth whatever it takes to find it.
Yeah, it is.
Trust me when I tell you, it's worth whatever it takes to find your joy. If you're doing something that you hate and it hates you, just quit doing it.
Sure. What
was trying to remember the artist now. Take a year and make a break. There ain't that much at stake. The answers may be relatively easy. That's Jason Isbell, by the way.
Oh, nice. Yep.
Yeah. But it's hard to leave safety and security.
Yeah.
And the corporate world, it's great to find a corporate situation, that you kind of have the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You really have the best of both worlds.
Yep. Well, and this is something I realized recently about myself, because I try to look in the mirror sometimes too. I've always, so, I have an interior design degree, like you mentioned. So, but I also have an MBA, business. And I've always been a little too creative for the business folks and a little too business for the creative folks. So, whoever I'm speaking to, I'm always kind of like, don't worry, I'm your friend. I think creatively. I love it, and I also you got to make it make sense. You got to make it make sense. You got to make it make money. You can't be spending $20 to make this thing and selling it for 10, it just boils down to mom being an art teacher and my dad's an engineer. I've always toggled back and forth in those worlds. You can have a business mind and think creatively, and you can think creatively and also be successful from a business standpoint. Going back to you do not have to be one or the other. You can be many things.
I would agree with that, and I'd even say that even in the strictly business world, I think the most successful business people are the ones that are able to be creative. The ability to come up with either a new process or a new concept. Creativity is something, I think so often it's squashed because it's not easy, and mistakes will be made if you're trying something new, but pick any large business. There's somebody with a creative idea that said, hey, I could do more than what I'm doing. I could expand this. If there was no vision, it would have never happened.
You've got to make sure those people are in the room. You can't you've got to make sure the people that are thinking a little wacky are in the room. You can't be pacified with the same old.
Well, who was it? Google, I think, and I don't know if they still do, had a division they called the Moonshot Division, where you could think of the craziest idea that you could possibly think of, and they would explore whether or not there was a way to bring it to fruition. And then you start thinking about, Q and I have talked on the podcast several times about technology and how, 100 years ago, the technology that we have today would have been magic, clear and simple, real magic.
Right.
You if you went back, what would we say? If you went back 500 years with a modern rifle, you could be a god. That's a tough way to.
Yeah.
I just realized how that sounds. Why didn't we come up with something more creative? Like if you went back with a computer or a cell phone. Yeah. But I mean, a cell phone wouldn't be. Anyways, technology is a light bulb.
There you go.
Yeah. Anything. You'd be a magician. So, as you move forward, what's your vision for MidCity in the future?
Absolutely to continue to foster community and creativity and supporting people's dreams coming true. We've got a lot left to go. We have a lot more chefs to recruit, a lot more artists, a lot more business owners, a lot more new tenants, a lot more new residents, sustainability, creativity, inclusivity. The vision and the creativity will not stop, and we're building it from zero. So the ground is flat, and we are building it out of nothing. So
isn't that exciting though?
Yes, it's a little harder because you don't have the framework put in, but it's not impossible. So and we're doing it. We're doing it because of y'all. We're doing it because of y'all. We're doing it because of the market. We're doing it because of the people that are believing in us on the early adopters, the shoppers that are coming now, the music lovers that are coming to the camp, the people that are moving into the district over at the Eclipse and Encore and Metronome and Wellery. I mean, it's going extremely well. So,
well, you talk about having a long way to go, but as somebody who's been there since the mall was there, what a long way you've come. It's a beautiful facility. From how many acres is that?
It's 140.
140 acres.
140 acres.
And there's something everywhere you turn, and every time you look, there's something new.
Yep.
And seems like there's something for everybody.
That's right.
We're thrilled to be a part of that.
Y'all are a very important part.
So, as we wrap it up, what would you like to shout out to our listeners?
Yeah. My biggest ask always is for people to get out of the house and come see what it's all about. A lot of people will drive by things. They'll say, "Oh, I heard about that. Oh, I'm curious. Oh, I heard the announcement," but come experience it. That's what enables more things to happen. That's what enables more businesses to grow. that is what enables you guys to continue to come to the market, come shop, come eat, come drink, come celebrate, come live. So it takes participation. It takes being a local tourist is something I like to say. Like I, especially since having Maeve in May, I expect a lot out of my town because not only she's involved now, but now I stick around the house and I stick home a little bit more. So I need to be a local tourist. I want the community to continue to elevate here. Like we've got work to do, so we've done a lot, but we got to continue to make sure we're able to be entertained in our own town and we don't have to escape to Nashville and Birmingham and Atlanta. We've got it here.
I got one more question.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to brag.
What's that?
Well, Huntsville has consistently for the last 5 years been on the top or in the top 5 of, I think it's Consumer Reports, best cities to live in Huntsville. How much of an impact has MidCity District had on those rankings?
I think it's certainly played a part, no question. Or hospitality partners with Octo, or tenants that sign leases, our future tenants, the musicians, the artists, the people of Huntsville, the people that come into Huntsville from all over, the people that live at MidCity and Metronome and Wellery upcoming and Encore. I mean, it's a big deal. It's all about how we're continuing to build and the people that really run the show. So I'm thrilled to be a part of it. We're all in it together. No one piece is stronger than the other. So
right.
And the Orion and the city of Huntsville and the venue group opening the Orion out at MidCity. I mean, that's massive honor.
That's as beautiful an amphitheater as I've ever been to.
Oh my gosh.
And I've been to a few.
It's
gorgeous.
It's unbelievable.
And you'd never know it's tucked back in there.
Oh, and that was by design. The trees were kept intact, and it's a magical experience.
Beautiful facility.
I've been many times, and as soon as I walk into that bowl, it just takes my breath away. And that's when you know that something was done right, is when you can repeatedly have the experience and still feel like it is the first. So we're pretty darn lucky. And
shout out Orion Amphitheater.
That's right. We want more of those breathtaking moments to happen, and we want MidCity to be one of one. We don't want people to come to a development that you feel like you could be in any city in any state in the U.S. Want it to be very one of one. So we're going to continue to push that. And if people attend the events, and patronize our businesses and live in the district, Encore, Metronome, Wellery, Anthem House, these places you could live and be a part of this. So just join in. Engage in the community. That's the best thing. And follow along.
Be a local tourist.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're up against a hard break here. We got to cut this thing off. It seems like 5 minutes. We say every single time, it seems like we've been talking here for 5 minutes,
right.
But it does. Q, what you got for us? You got anything to leave us with?
All I want to do is just thank Lindsey Pattillo-Keane for just being here and joining us today on this episode.
Thanks, Shank. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was definitely a pleasure.
Yes.
I didn't know what
Can't wait to see where this goes.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
to the top.
I think this was a fantastic show.
I agree.
For our first guest.
Hands down.
And I couldn't think of no one better to have as our first guest.
I agree.
So
I'm honored. Absolutely honored. Thank you, guys.
All right. Loyal listeners, fellow travelers, local tourists. We're here with Lindsey Pattillo-Keane at that 86 Kid Studio with Q the Messenger and Kevin the Boss Man Richardson. I'm Shane the Brain Knox, and this has been a very special episode of Vendor Chronicles.